gbọ́ ẹjọ́ rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́.
He was sent to Rome.
A fi ránṣẹ́ sí Róòmù.
And in a ship, they encountered a very serious wind on the sea.
Ọkọ̀ ojú omi tí wọ́n wọ̀, ìjì ńlá dìde nínú omi.
Verse 14 says, but not long after, there arose against it a tempestuous wind called Euroclydon.
Ẹsẹ̀ ìkẹrìnlá sọ wípé kò sí pẹ́ lẹ́yìn náà ni ìjì tí à ń pè ní Euroclydon fẹ́ lù.
Now, simply because he had advised them against sailing out, but they ignored his advice.
Nítorí pé ó ti fún wọn ní àmọ̀ràn wípé ẹ má tí ì jẹ́ ká máa lọ báyìí, ṣùgbọ́n wọn ṣe.
Now the sailor said, no, we are not going to listen to you. We are professionals in this business. You are just a passenger. No, we won't listen to you. And he was advising them based on the leading of the Spirit of God in him.
Nígbà tó fún wọn ní àmọ̀ràn yìí, atukọ̀ náà sọ wípé o ò mọ̀ tó wa nítorí pé iṣẹ́ táwa ń ṣe leléyìí kò sí ní tó lè dá wa dúró tó ní ká má lọ, láì mọ̀ pé Paul ó mú àmọ̀ràn yìí wá gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìtọ́ni ẹ̀mí mímọ́.
Now, for example, let's look at it from verse 20.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká wò lórí láti ẹsẹ̀ ogún.
Now just follow on as I read here. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay on us, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. But after being long without food, Paul stood forth in the midst of them and said, Sirs, you should have hearkened unto me, and not to have loosed from Crete, and to have gained this harm and loss. And now, listen. And now, I exhort you to be of good cheer. That's the man of God encouraging those that were in the ship, some 276 of them. And he said, and I exhort you, be of good cheer, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, but only of the ship. For there stood by me this night an angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve, saying, Fear not, Paul, thou must be brought before Caesar, and lo, God has given thee all them that sail with thee. Wherefore, sirs, be of good cheer, for I believe God that it shall be even as it was told me. You see, that's an encouraging message from Paul to those that were in the ship.
Ọ̀rọ̀ ìfinilọ́kànbalẹ̀ yìí láti ẹnu Paul sí àwọn èrò tó lé ní igba tó wà nínú ọkọ̀ ojú omi.
And thank God they listened and they were saved.
A dúpẹ́ nítorí pé àwọn ènìyàn wọ̀nyí wọ́n tẹ́tí sílẹ̀, wọ́n gbọ́ràn, a sì gbà wọ́n là.
Verse 44b says, and so it came to pass that they all escaped safely to the land.
Láti ẹsẹ̀ ìkẹrìnlélógójì ó sọ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó sì ṣe tí gbogbo wọn yọ ní àlàáfíà dé ilẹ̀.
So Bartimaeus, what he was confronted with,
ohun tó dojúkọ,
how he was encouraged
bí
that he should cheer up,
àti fi lọ́kàn balẹ̀ pé kí ó tújú ká.
because the Lord Jesus Christ was calling him.
Nítorí pé Jésù Kristi Olúwa ó ń pè é.
He listened
Ó gbọ́.
and he received a solution to the problems of his life.
Ó sì gba ìtúsílẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ìdààmú tó ń dojúkọ.
Paul, before the council,
Paul níwájú àwọn ìgbìmọ̀.
was also encouraged, be of good cheer.
A fi òun náà lọ́kàn balẹ̀ pé kí ó tújú ká.
Paul also encouraged the people in the ship with him that they should be calm. They should encourage themselves because God had told him that none of them will perish.
Paul náà sì rèé, ó tún wá tún ru àwọn tó wà nínú ọkọ̀ pẹ̀lú rẹ̀ sókè pé ká nítorí pé Ọlọ́run ti sọ fún yín pé ẹnì kankan nínú wọn kò ní sọ ẹ̀mí rẹ̀.
So the question is this.
Ìbéèrè náà nìyí. yìí.
Now, what are you passing through
Kí ni àwọn náà tó ń là kọjá
that has made you write yourself off?
tó tún wá jẹ́ kó o ti ro ara rẹ pin
And perhaps you have resigned to faith
pé bóyá o tẹ̀ ti gbà sí kámú
that whatever happens, there can be no solution to the challenges of my life.
ohun tó wù kó lè máa ṣẹlẹ̀ kò sọ́nà àbáyọ.
Is it ailment?
Ṣé àìsàn ni
Is it poverty?
àbí àìní?
Is it business collapse?
Okòwò rẹ ló ti dojú
Is
kọlẹ̀
it stagnation?
àbí ṣé ìdààmú ni
Is it challenges of this life?
àbí ìpèníjà ayé yìí ni?
Is it a sinful life that make a sinful life because you just want to make ends meet?
Àbí ṣé torí pé ìwọ̀nba ìgbé ayé tó rọra ń gbé torí pé o kàn ṣáàfẹ́ kí nǹkan rọrùn fún
No,
ọ.
it could just be anything. It could
Ó
just
lè
be
jẹ́
anything.
ohunkóhun
But it's an unpleasant situation in your life.
ṣùgbọ́n ó jẹ́ ipò tí kò mú ìtura wá
Now,
nínú
God
ayé rẹ.
is saying to you and to me this morning, cheer up,
Ṣùgbọ́n Ọlọ́run ń sọ fún èmi àti ìwọ láàárọ̀ yìí wípé tújú ká
cheer up.
tújú ká.
In Job chapter 14, verses 7 to 9,
Nínú ìwé Jóòbù orí kẹrìnlá láti ẹsẹ̀ ìkeje
Job
títí
chapter
dé
14, verses 7 to 9,
ìwé Jóòbù orí kẹrìnlá láti ẹsẹ̀ ìkeje títí dé ìkẹsàn-án.
it says, For there is hope for a tree.
Ó ní bí gbòǹgbò rẹ̀ tilẹ̀
There is hope for a tree
nítorí pé àbá wà fún igi
if it is cut down.
bí a bá ké e lulẹ̀.
And what is that hope?
Kí ni ìrètí náà?
He said that it will sprout again
Yóò tún sọ
and that its tender branch will not cease.
àti pé ẹ̀ka rẹ̀ tuntun kì yóò
He
dá.
said, though its root grow old
Bí
in
gbòǹgbò
the
rẹ̀
earth
tilẹ̀ di ogbó nínú ilẹ̀
and its stalk die,
tí
in
kùkùté
the
rẹ̀ sì
ground.
kú ní ilẹ̀.
yet at the scent of water
Síbẹ̀ nígbà tí ó bá gbóòórùn omi
it will bud
yóò sọ
and bring forth boughs like a plant.
yóò sì yọ ẹ̀ka jáde bí
So that
ewéko.
is what God can do for every one of us,
Ohun tí Ọlọ́run lè ṣe fún gbogbo wa
passing
lélẹ́yìí.
through one form of challenge or the other.
Àwọn ìpèníjà kan tàbí
There is hope for you. There is hope for me.
ìrètí wà fún
There
mi.
is hope for every one of us.
Ìrètí wà fún gbogbo wa.
It says, for there is hope for a tree.
Ó ní
It says, if it is cut down, if its root grow old,
pé yóò sì tún sọ
if its stalk die in the ground,
pé tí gbòǹgbò rẹ̀ tilẹ̀ kú tí kùkùté rẹ̀
and
kú
what
nílẹ̀.
is that hope? What is that hope?
Kí ni ìrètí náà?
What is that hope?
Kí ni ìrètí náà?
What is that hope?
Kí ni ìrètí náà?
The scent of water.
Pé gbígbóòórùn omi.
When rain falls upon upon a field,
Nígbà tí òjò bá ń rọ̀ sí orí igi,
a dry one.
sí orí ilẹ̀ gbígbẹ,
Now, for example, during the dry season,
pàápàá jùlọ ní àsìkò
we
ọ̀gbẹlẹ̀,
see everything everything will be brown,
ohun gbogbo yóò wá rọ kalẹ̀, yóò di dúdú,
as if there is nothing there.
bí ẹni pé kò sí ohunkóhun níbẹ̀.
But immediately rain begins to fall.
Lọ́gán tí òjò bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí
Now
rọ̀,
we begin to see grasses coming
a
up.
wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní rí
And
ewéko.
that exactly is what God is saying here.
Ohun tí Ọlọ́run ń sọ pàtó níbẹ̀ yìí
Say
ni
it will sprout again.
pé yóò tún sọjí
It
padà,
will bud and bring forth boughs.
yóò pa ẹ̀ka
So
rẹ̀ tuntun.
let us cheer up.
Nítorí náà ẹ jẹ́ ká tújú
Let
ká,
us cheer up.
ẹ jẹ́ ká tújú ká,
Let us cheer up.
ẹ jẹ́ ká tújú ká,
Now let's look at one or two things
ẹ jẹ́ ká tún wo nǹkan
that help
méjì.
the people that we just read about now.
Èyí tí ó ran àwọn tí a kà nípa wọn wọ̀nyí lọ́wọ́.
Bartimaeus,
Bátíméù,
Paul,
Pọ́ọ̀lù
and the 276 people in the ship with him.
àti àwọn tí ó lé ní igba tó wà nínú ọkọ̀ ojú omi
Number
pẹ̀lú Pọ́ọ̀lù.
one, the recognition of their helpless state was there.
Nítorí pé wọ́n ṣe ìdámọ̀ ipò aláìní
They
ìrànlọ́wọ́.
recognized their helpless state.
Pé wọ́n rí i pé nípò tí wọ́n wà wọn ò lè ran
Look
ara wọn
at, look
lọ́wọ́.
at Bartimaeus, for example.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká wo Bátíméù fún àpẹẹrẹ.
He possibly might have tried all things, but no way out.
Ó ṣeé ṣe kó ti gbìyànjú pọ̀ nǹkan lórí ipò afẹ́fẹ́ tó wà ṣùgbọ́n kò sí ọ̀nà,
No way out.
kò sọ́nà àbáyọ.
Look at the sailors.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká wo àwọn atukọ̀
They have
ọkọ̀
tried
ojú omi yìí.
all their best, but no way out.
nígbà tí ìjì yìí dìde wọ́n ti gbìyànjú gbogbo ipá wọn
They had
ṣùgbọ́n kò
wasted
sábà
a
àbáyọ
lot of things,
wọ́n ti fi ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ṣòfò
but their lives.
ṣùgbọ́n ẹ̀mí wọn ló kù
But their lives.
ẹ̀mí wọn ló kù
But, well, there was nothing they could do.
kò sí ohun tí wọ́n tún lè ṣe
They recognized the fact that they were helpless.
wọ́n wá rí i pé níbi tí àwọn wà yìí àrídájú wà yìí
In
pé kò
whatever
sí
situation
ọ̀nà
any
àbáyọ
of
fà
us may be passing through,
irú ipòkípò tí ẹnikẹ́ni nínú wa lè máa là
we
kọjá
cannot help ourselves.
ó lè ran ara rẹ
It's
lọ́wọ́
only God that can help us.
ọlọ́run nìkan ló lè ràn wá
Our
lọ́wọ́
assistance will come from God.
pé ìrànlọ́wọ́ wa
Then
ọwọ́
I
ọlọ́run
look
ló
up
ti bọ̀
unto the hills from whence cometh my help.
ó ní èmi ó gbé ojú mi sórí òkè wọn
He said, my help shall
níbi
come
ìrànlọ́wọ́ mi ó
from
ti wá
God,
ìrànlọ́wọ́ mi ó ti ọwọ́
the
ọlọ́run wá
maker of the heaven and the earth.
ẹni tí ó dá ọ̀run òun ayé
Another point there
pé kókó mìíràn níbẹ̀
that helped them out
tí ó ràn wọ́n
is
lọ́wọ́
the knowledge of what God had done and that God could still do.
ó ní ìmọ̀ àwọn ohun tí ọlọ́run ti ṣe sẹ́yìn àti ohun tí ó
The
tún lè
knowledge
ṣe
of what God had done and what He could still do.
ìmọ̀ ọlọ́run ohun tí ọlọ́run ti ṣe àti ohun tó tún lè ṣe
Look at Bartimaeus.
ẹ jẹ́ ká wo Bátíméù
Definitely, he would have heard about Jesus' works in the
láì
lives of
ṣe
some people.
àní-àní ó ti gbọ́ ìròyìn nípa Jésù nínú ayé àwọn kan
And so something ministered to him that if Jesus did it in the lives of this or that or that or that, definitely he could do the same thing in my own life.
nǹkan kan sì ti wá wàásù sínú ọkàn rẹ̀ pé tí Jésù bá lè ṣe àwọn nǹkan tí mò ń gbọ́ yìí nípa ayé àwọn kan láì ṣàní-àní ó lè ṣe
And so he
nínú ayé
decided that
tèmi náà
anytime he was passing through, he would start crying and crying and crying until he listened to him and attended to him.
ó ti wá pinnu ní ọkàn rẹ̀ pé ìgbàkigbà tí Jésù Kristi bá ń kọjá òun ó máa pariwo títí tí Jésù yóò fi gbọ́ tí yóò sì fi dá lóhùn
And he took the right step
ó gbé ìgbésẹ̀ tó tọ́
and God helped him out.
Ọlọ́run sì ràn án lọ́wọ́
He had the knowledge of what God had done and what he could do.
ó ní ìmọ̀ ohun tí Ọlọ́run ti ṣe àti ohun tí Ọlọ́run tún lè ṣe
And Paul already knew that only God could bail him out and also save them from perishing in the sea.
Paul ń tiẹ̀ látilẹ̀ ó ti mọ̀ yìí pé Ọlọ́run nìkan ṣoṣo ló lè gba àwọn là àti àwọn tó kù nínú ọkọ̀.
And more importantly, when God ministered to him,